My dear ones, many came to the elder with the same question that, like a splinter, tormented their hearts and gave them no peace. Merchants, laborers, mothers, and young girls approached him, all asking, Father, how to maintain peace in the soul, how to protect oneself from confusion when surrounded by temptations, while inside turmoil and irritation boil like in a cauldron. The elder, looking at them with bright, loving eyes, did not hurry to answer. He listened attentively, nodding and stroking his gray beard, a quiet smile warming his face. He saw not just tired people, but peered into the depths of their hearts, where a great battle was already unfolding, invisible to the ordinary gaze. And what is surprising, my dear ones, is that when someone complained about a cruel boss, an unyielding neighbor, or high prices, the elder gently shifted the conversation to a completely different plane. He said, Listen to yourself, dear, not to the noise outside, but to the silence within. What do you hear there? The man fell silent, puzzled, while the elder continued. This feeling that suddenly ignited in you, like a smoldering ember, resentment or anxiety, anger towards your neighbor. Do you think this is yours? Do you believe your soul is so weak and bad? He paused, and in that moment, everyone looked inside themselves and shuddered at what they had accumulated. Then his simple and piercing words sounded, This is a sign of the demon. Yes, yes, my dear ones, do not be surprised. Elder Ely taught us to see in these seemingly ordinary emotional movements not just momentary weakness or bad character. He taught to recognize the cunning and sly enemy that creeps up to our soul like a thief to a house, seeking to open a window or door. Our soul is a temple, consecrated by the Lord himself at baptism. In it, a prayer lamp must burn, an angelic choir must sound, and grace and peace must reign. But the enemy, knowing this, does not sleep. His goal is to extinguish the lamp, introduce a false note into the choir, and sow confusion in the temple, so we forget who the true master is. What to do when the heart tightens with inexplicable anxiety? What to do if a word, casually thrown by someone, suddenly grows into a huge poisonous resentment in the soul, poisoning the whole day or even the whole week? We are used to digging into ourselves. I am to blame, I am bad, nervous, uncontrollable. Or worse, we start blaming others, igniting anger and judgment within ourselves. In both cases, we do exactly what the cunning expects from us. We accept his poisonous thought, his deceptive idea as our own. We open the door for him and say, Come in, feel at home. And he enters. Inside, a conflict, sadness, and emptiness begin. The elder said, The first prick is not yet a sin, it's temptation. It's a bell from the enemy. Imagine someone knocking at your door. You do not open the door wide without knowing who is there. First, you must ask, Who is there? The same happens with our thoughts. When the desire to judge, be offended, envy, or be afraid arises, it is like a knock at the door. It is an anxious signal given by the enemy. It is important to understand this, and today we will discuss it in more detail. We have the opportunity. We can call out to this knocking, Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. And then the enemy will retreat like from fire. But there is another way. One can start a conversation with him, ponder his suggestions, dwell on grievances, and nurture anxiety. And then the lock on the door of our heart will click, and it will open. Do you know that the elder often mentioned the cleverest method of the enemy? He does not appear with horns and hooves. No, he comes as an angel of light, whispering thoughts of justice, about the importance of self-care, about not allowing oneself to be humiliated. He disguises poison as medicine, and we, not recognizing the deception, accept it willingly. Ultimately, instead of being masters of our souls, we become puppets, controlled by him, pulled by the strings of passions. Today, with God's help, we will try to develop this spiritual vigilance. We will analyze which specific feelings can serve as warning signals and how to distinguish them from natural manifestations of the soul. Most importantly, we will hear the simple and effective advice of Elder Ilya on how to confront the enemy at the very beginning of the struggle. This advice is so simple that many are surprised, but within its simplicity lies all the wisdom and power of the gospel. And this key, my dear ones, is available to each of us. Dear children, here is an important question that arises before the human soul, like an impregnable mountain. what should one do when the world departs from the heart? When just recently it was quiet and bright, now suddenly there is anxiety, as if a wolf has sneaked into the sheepfold. Irritation towards others rises without visible reason. Forgotten resentment stings the soul with its poisonous thorn, and the desire to judge someone begins to torment like an unbearable itch. And the man thinks, "Here I am weak again, sinful. Once more my bad character has let me down." But the elder Eli looked at this with love and simplicity, like a father at his foolish child. He said, "My children, be vigilant like the watchmen on the walls of Jerusalem." This sudden anxiety, emerging from nowhere, anger flaring like a spark on straw. This is not just your weakness. No, dear ones, this is a sign of the devil. This is his handwriting, his work. The enemy of humanity, like a thief in the night, creeps in and sows seeds of confusion in your heart, making you think they are your own thoughts and feelings. And what is the result? We begin to fight these thoughts as if they are our own, becoming even more entangled. And the enemy stands aside and laughs, watching how we torment ourselves. Do you see how cunningly he arranged everything? Remember, dear children, the simplest example. You are preparing for service in God's temple, or simply standing for evening prayer. The soul is calm, there is silence in the house, grace, and just as you cross yourself, just as you open the prayer book, suddenly, out of nowhere, such gloom descends that you have no strength to raise your hands. Thoughts, like a swarm of bees, swirl in your head. One of them concerns unfinished work, another, an old grievance, the third, the soup left on the stove. And instead of prayer, a fare full of vanity and bustle ignites in consciousness. Have you ever noticed this in yourself? The elder said it is a sure sign. The enemy seeks to distract you from prayer, knowing that it is the breath of the soul. This is a living communication with God, and he does everything possible to prevent you from focusing, instilling. Leave it. It's not your business. You are tired and unworthy. You will pray later. He wants you to give up, drop your hands, and sink into that inner darkness he himself created. But what to do in such moments? Give up? No, my dear ones, no. It is at this moment that the true spiritual struggle begins. The elder taught, as soon as you feel confusion, heaviness, the pressure of thoughts, do not retreat. Not for a step. Hold on to prayer like a drowning person to a life buoy. Do not engage in conversation with these thoughts. Do not try to prove anything to them. They are alien to you. They are enemies wishing to harm. And what to do with spies? They are driven away. It is important to remember, do not try to defeat them with your own strength. We do not have enough. Immediately call for help from the one who is stronger than all. The elder advised, stop the inner turmoil, mentally or even aloud. If you are alone, make the sign of the cross and call with faith. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. Holy Mother of God, save us. My guardian angel, protect and preserve me from all evil. Do you see how simple it is? It's not a spell. It's a child's cry to a father, a mother, a faithful protector. It's a living communication with the source of the world and love. And in the light of divine presence, the enemy loses its power. Like a night thief, it fears the light. He is strong only in the darkness and confusion that he himself creates. And when you call upon the Lord, a bright light ignites in your soul. What happens to the shadow when light falls upon it? It disappears. The wicked approaches from different sides. Sometimes he does not disturb but lifts pride. For example, you did a good deed, helped someone, and then you hear a whisper, "What a good person you are, unlike others." Instead of joy for your neighbor, self-admiration begins to grow in your soul. This is also his trick, his poisonous honey. Or, conversely, you see another person sin, and instead of compassion, you begin to judge. Look at him, but I am not like that. And again, the enemy celebrates victory, having sown in you the seed of Pharisaism. Do you recognize these tricks? Therefore, the elder Elia urged us to always be attentive to ourselves and to ask our souls simple yet important questions. It's like a doctor diagnosing to prescribe the right treatment. Ask yourself in the silence of your heart when you feel confusion, what exactly is troubling you? What passion has spoken within me? Anger, resentment, vanity, or perhaps despair? And then ask deeper, what does my spirit fear at this moment? It fears losing approval, fears appearing vulnerable, fears forgiving the offender, as then it would lose its righteousness. And the most important question, my dear ones, is where? In which part of my soul do I open the door to the enemy? Perhaps I trust my thoughts too much. Maybe I forget to turn to God right away. The answers to these questions should not be a reason for self-flagellation. No, this is the light that illuminates the dark corners of our soul. When you realize where the enemy finds a gap, you are already halfway to victory over him, because the struggle is not hopeless. On the contrary, it leads to great peace, tranquility, and true unity with God. The enemy wants us to think that we are alone in this battle, but that is his greatest lie. Elijah's teachings instruct us on the most important thing, not to be afraid of our weaknesses, not to hide them from ourselves or from God. This is precisely what the enemy plays on. He finds our vulnerabilities, points them out, and whispers, "Look how worthless you are. What do you know of the kingdom of heaven?" And the Lord looks at the same weakness, at this crack in our spiritual vessel, and sees in it an opportunity to manifest his strength and grace. Do you understand, my dear ones, what the essence is? Our weakness is the meeting point with God. When we, realizing our helplessness, humbly cry out, "Lord, I can't cope, help me," he immediately comes to our aid. He doesn't wait for us to become strong and perfect. He stands at the very door of our heart and quietly knocks right now. At this moment, he waits for us to reveal to him the enemy's noise. The main thing is to open with love and hope. And then, my dear ones, no darkness and no enemy will stand. They will disperse like morning mist under the rays of the rising sun. Because where doors are opened to Christ with love, his light, his peace, and his invincible grace reign. This is the beginning of the path to victory. And now, my children, we have shared our souls. My heart rejoices that you seek paths to the light, that you do not want to surrender your soul to the enemy of humanity. He is treacherous and waits for us to despair, to lower our hands and think, there is no salvation. And this feeling is a deaf melancholy. This thought, drilling and drilling, is his main poison, his first trick. It whispers in your ear, you are bad, you are sinful, God has abandoned you. And as soon as you believe this whisper, you find yourself in his nets, my dear. But the Lord is nearby. He knocks at your heart, waiting for you to turn to him. So what should you do, my dear child? How to be when this snake penetrates the soul? Here's how. Cultivate a habit, simple yet saving. As soon as you feel heaviness, despair, the thought that everything is bad and there is no way out, immediately cross yourself and firmly say to yourself, here he is, the enemy. I recognize you, deceitful one. This is not mine. This is you trying to deceive me. Understand, my dear. The first step is to recognize the enemy, not to argue with him, not to prove anything to him, not to dig into the dirt he brought, but simply to say, I see you. It's like a shadow on the fortress wall. Upon seeing the enemy, I immediately raise the alarm. But what alarm do we have? What signal is the most reliable? Of course, this is a short prayer coming from the very heart. There's no need to recite long rules when strength is running low. Just call out from the depths of your soul, Lord, have mercy. Holy Mother of God, save me, my guardian angel. Protect me. Repeat this like a small child calls for his mother when he is scared. This brief prayer is like a fiery arrow, capable of piercing the enemy's schemes. The enemy fears the name of God like fire. He offers you despondency, and you offer him Christ. He brings despair, while you offer hope to the Mother of God, and you will see how he retreats, how he backs away, because the light of prayer is unbearable for him. And one more piece of advice, my dear. Every evening, before you go to sleep, do not dwell on your failures and sins, so as not to drive yourself into melancholy. The enemy is waiting for exactly this. But do the opposite. Stand before the icon and start giving thanks. Find at least 3 things to thank God for today. For a piece of bread, for the rays of the sun, for breathing, for your loved ones being alive. Gratitude is a great power. She washes away all the enemy's dirt from the soul like warm water. Despair retreats where a grateful heart lives. Instead of digging a pit of despair, you will start planting flowers of gratitude in your soul. Start today. Do not postpone to tomorrow, which may never come. Right now, as soon as you feel that familiar chill in your soul, that stab of hopelessness, do as I said. Cross yourself, call upon the name of God, and begin to give thanks. Do not struggle with the thought, just turn away from it to God. It resembles a situation in a room. There is no need to chase the darkness with a stick. Just open the window and the light will drive it away. Live quietly with God, step by step. He will help you. You will strengthen your faith, and you will see that the enemy is not so strong when the Lord is with you. But how to turn your soul, like a besieged fortress, into a blooming garden where there will be no room for weeds. How to learn not only to repel attacks, but also to cultivate spiritual fruits within yourself. We will talk about this, if it is God's will. May the Lord protect you all, and may the Mother of God shelter you with her most revered Omophorion from all evil.